You might have seen the phrase, "be the change," on a bumper sticker or t-shirt. This famous saying is attributed to Gandhi. And as the story goes, an anxious mother took her son to meet Gandhi one day. She was worried about her son's sweet tooth and wanted Gandhi to tell him not to eat sweets anymore. Now, I've got to say, as a father, I admire this woman's optimism that anyone could get a little kid to stop eating sweets. But I suppose if you've got Gandhi around and you're going to try, that it's not a bad choice to ask him. But anyhow, when she got there and actually asked him, Gandhi politely refused, but asked her to come back after a few weeks. So she did what he asked and came back after a couple weeks. And when she did, Gandhi promptly told the boy to stop eating so many sweets, just like the mother had asked. But she was confused. Why, she asked him. Why didn't you just tell him the first time? Why make us wait and come back again? Because, Gandhi said, I myself was still eating sweets. We must be the change that we want to see in the world. Now, be the change sure has a nice ring to it, but unfortunately, it looks like this whole story is made up. It's a figment of the internet's overactive imagination. Why do we latch on to bumper sticker slogans like this one? Well, there's no easy answer to that, but the science tells us that we humans have a deep-rooted need to seek meaning and purpose in our lives. It's true that we spend an enormous amount of energy diagnosing the world's problems, critiquing ourselves, pointing out the shortcomings of others, and pretty much complaining about everything under the sun. But what if we followed this bumper sticker Gandhi's advice and focused our energy on being the change that we want to see in the world, instead of just talking about it? Well, there are people who do this, and we've studied some of them scientifically. Seems that when we make up our minds to be the change, amazing things can happen, measurable things. A really interesting example is the research on what we call extraordinary altruists, people whose first impulse is to think of the needs of others, and who then actually take action to help.
Having a higher purpose is something that is not simply a belief, but it is something that impacts our brains in very profound ways. An illustration of this comes from a recent study done by scientists at Georgetown University. And what they did in this study is they studied people they called extreme altruists. These were people who donated a kidney to an unrelated individual, something that I think most of us would agree is indeed extremely altruistic. And what they found is that the extreme altruists actually had larger amygdala. The volume of their amygdala was larger in size compared to age and gender matched controls who did not donate a kidney. And one interpretation of this is that these extreme altruists are particularly sensitive to suffering, and this helps to shape their meaning in some way. And they automatically, very spontaneously, want to relieve the suffering of another, and therefore they're engaged in actions like donating a kidney to an unrelated individual. So this sense of meaning and purpose is a quality that has profound implications and is associated with differences in the brain and the body.
Of course, most of us aren't going to donate our kidneys to strangers anytime soon, but every one of us does things each day that are aligned with our deeper values. Things like helping a colleague, caring for a family member, or just doing high-quality work. Now, I'm not going to tell you that smiling at strangers is going to magically grow your amygdala, but here's what we do know scientifically. The human mind and even the human body work their best when we feel a sense of purpose. So how do we actually bring this into our lives? Well, let's break this down into 3 simple steps. Pause, reflect, act. The first step is to make a habit of pausing for short moments throughout your day. Transitions are great for this. When you walk out the door to go to work, on your way to a meeting, or before firing off a message to a friend or coworker. Pause. Take a mindful breath. Bring yourself back into the moment. This is the first step, and you get the added benefit here of strengthening mindfulness and attention. In my experience, The most challenging part is remembering to do this at all. So you might want to remind yourself with a strategically placed Post-it note or something like that. For the second step, do something to shift your perspective. Say you're on your way to a meeting. You might think to yourself, life is fragile. This could be the last time I see these people. Why not be as kind as I possibly can during this meeting? A simple thought like this can dramatically shift your take on a situation. For the third step, do something. Take action. It doesn't need to be big or even noticeable to other people. No need to make a show of it. Just do something simple that reflects an important value. Express your appreciation for someone's work, or take a moment to ask about a coworker's family. Whatever. Find a small way to put your inspiration into practice. If you do this in short bursts throughout your day, you'll start to feel a greater sense of purpose and direction. The boring details of life, and even challenges and setbacks, will be transformed into opportunities for growth.